Going on YouTube? It's me, Dan, the Bastard Chef. Today I'm going to be making a dish that is delicate around the world, but not so delicate if you know the information behind this complete protein. This is what we're learning about. It's fish. Fish is a complete protein. It's got a lot of different vitamins and nutrients, but a lot of fatty oils and stuff, and the healthy fats that you need to stay warm and have a nice healthy metabolic response in your immune system and stuff. This is actually a fillet of tilapia. A lot of companies that make fish tacos will cheat on their menu and start with a mahi taco that is like maybe Cajun. Tilapia is very easy to mimic mahi, and if you know that the industry just manipulates the cost of things, or even like pairs it with the lower cost of, a cheaper alternative, they will use tilapia. The way to cut tilapia, which I'm not going to do as I want to demonstrate here, but see how this is the skin side. It was where the skin was. These are de-skinned. These were frozen fillets in a family pack that I got from a specialty supermarket. Family size pack, small fish, but they grow up to be really big. I'll give you a history of the fish and like the life cycle of it in its natural state in the wild, and also found in farms. These are farm-raised tilapia fillets. That's the skin side down, and you want to be able to cut it while the skin side is up. You want to, like, if you want to strip it and then make it into cubes. I'm gonna be making an easy dish for myself to eat, but let me get right into it. The history and the life of a tilapia. Geographically, the location that a tilapia can be found is anywhere in the world, but primarily in rivers. Like, have an example of one of the rivers, the Nile River. There's a Nile tilapia, and they're a freshwater fish. They like current. They like to swim upstream. A juvenile tilapia will live his youth being a omnivore, which means that he likes to eat meat and plants, and that's what his diet consists of until adulthood, where he transitions his diet into just herbivore, where he eats just plants. And the similarity between a wild tilapia and a farm-raised tilapia is the diet, because it changes and is a little bit hectic when I get into it, but a tilapia eats its own waste. So whatever its fecal matter produces, or if it produces algae, which is a microbe, like a bacteria, and it's a life form. The algae is a poop eating decomposer inside of the watershed that the farm is in. A lot of you may not know that tilapia eats its own poop, which I reinstated the topic, where farm-raised tilapia has a diet which is like an herbivore. It eats corn grain, and grain for corn, and it also eats soy. That's what the farms primarily feed them on their diet, and like they feed them that consistently throughout their life until like they grow a certain size, and then they have to start eating algae, which the algae eats the poop. And algae is like being an herbivore, because it's got like life in it, but it's a plant too, and it's got chlorophyll. So the taste of a farm-raised tilapia, if you caught a juvenile one in the wild, it would taste like gamey. There's the term gamey, and if you caught a farm-raised one and had it in a watershed inside of a pool of water, you're not going to have the gamey taste. It's actually a lot more consistently tastable, or tasting consistently to grain, and it tastes like it's been fed vegetables its whole life. If you eat just a baked piece of tilapia that has farm-raised specks to it, it tastes very similar to like eating grass. And I never eaten grass, but it tastes very earthy, and it's kind of gross that that it's been eating its own poop before it transitioned into a fillet and became food for you. But I eat it, and I don't let food go to waste. I eat the whole fillet. I make very delicious tacos with my tilapia, where I season it with Cajun seasoning or blackened seasoning. Same thing, potato. The tilapia is raised probably up to a few weeks past maturity, where it's gotten into like past juvenile stage in the farm, because they want to just turn over a large yield of fish, and get new life in those aqua ponds. These fish can be bought fresh. I've been in supermarkets down in Maryland where they served fresh tilapia like they were swimming in the pool, in the tank, and they would pull them out of the water and fillet them right there. They get to grow to be like the size of this big, like maybe like a foot or two. They're not even that really pretty of a fish. They kind of have like a pink color to them. They get really fat, so the fat's been trimmed on this, so I don't know how fatty the meat is. But I've experimented with a lot of fish before, and by far with Cajun seasoning or the right seasoning and spices, I like to eat tilapia because it doesn't have the taste that tastes earthy. So what I'm doing tonight with my dinner that I'm reserving for this video is one tilapia fillet and no sides, just straight protein to the gut. These are complete proteins, and a complete protein is animal byproduct or animal based, excuse me. And an incomplete protein is the opposite of an animal based protein. It's incomplete protein is a plant based protein, which you see plenty of in supermarkets and stores now with people going vegan and vegetarian. And fun fact, vegans are like pescatarian, which means they eat plants and fish. A lot of people prefer to be pescatarian because fish is a great source of protein, fats, nutrients, and if you prepare it right and you don't cook all the nutrients out of it, you're fine. And if you have a temperature gauge like a thermometer at home that you want to be safe with cooking the meat, I usually go when it's flaky and white and cooked all the way through. I choose to take it off the stove, and I don't even time it. I just pick the right temperature, but I always make sure that my pan is hot, and I throw a little bit of butter in it, and I salt and pepper this fillet. I'm going to salt and pepper, maybe throw some chili powder on it. But my pan is heating up behind me where my butter is going to sizzle, and I'm going to have maybe like a tablespoon of butter because I want all those animal fats. And I think it's salted butter. Oh no, it's sweet unsalted that I'm using. There's a tablespoon of butter that I'm using to one fillet of fish. And what you got to do is you got to make sure your pan is hot and that your butter's hot before you drop any protein or vegetables. I think more specifically protein, like an animal product. But you want to sear your fish. You want to sear your meat. And fish has an internal cooking temperature of 145 degrees if you have the safety of using your thermometer at home. So every fish besides a stuffed fish, like if you make stuffed flounder at home with like crab meat and peppers and onion and herbs and spices, you can cook your fish that isn't stuffed at 145, and it's going to be cooked all the way through for every fish that you own. When you cook something that is stuffed, say I made this tilapia and I butterflied it down the middle and stuffed it with peppers and crab meat, which I would use lump claw crab meat that comes in a can, and I would take this half. I would literally have it parallel and like symmetrical, and I would take one half of it and flip it over and put it on top of it, and then stick a toothpick in it with the stuffing in the middle. And I would use a leveled scoop for that, which I don't have in this apartment, but I would use maybe like anywhere between like 2 ounces of meat for a small piece of tilapia like this. But when you contract making a home meal that includes stuffing a fish or stuffing a meat or anything that needs to be stuffed, it has to be cooked to 165 degrees. That's important. It's to remit any foodborne illness or toxins that are found in the food, because they are stuffing inside of another animal. And just to be safe, it is 165, no below. If you enjoyed this video, just give it a like and subscribe. I'm going to cook myself some dinner now, and hopefully you get to try tilapia if you aren't disgusted by hearing there's a little bit of life inside of your algae and life inside of the diets of a tilapia. But if you gain the information like I shared and learn that you're not getting it from an aqueduct or anything like that in a farm, and you actually get your hands on wild tilapia, it's not going to eat its own poop. It's going to have the diet of a juvenile, which is an omnivore, which eats meat and plants. And when it gets into adulthood, it'll just eat strictly plants. So that's why it's probably hard to fish these in the wild, because when they get older, they just eat plants. But there is those nets that they catch fish with. They use large nets, and they groom the river for different catches of fish. And like I said, it's found in like the Nile River. It's a freshwater fish. It likes to swim upstream. A lot of the fish is farm raised and where we get it on the supermarket shelves. But if you think about it, it's poor man's cod, and it's a good source of protein. It's about 8 grams, 7 to 8 grams of protein. And if you cook it with the right amount of salt and the right amount of fat, which is the butter, or even vegetable fat, which is an insoluble fat, you'll be making a productive measure to like incorporate some sort of a regimen to eat the food and accept it for what it is. Because some people just prefer to get a viable source of protein, and I'm one of those people that, it may sound disgusting, but I know that consuming this fish isn't gonna harm me, that I know of, because there's no hazards in it. Like this, it's been deboned, the pin bone's been removed, and it's a legal fish. It's not over farmed, it's not over raised, and those fish are brought to this country to make people have cookouts and have family festivals and get together and just share the culture. And I approve of it, because it's a delicacy for me to cook for people and show them different attributes of seasoning and spices. So if you want something that is an alternative to any other fish out there, and it's a lean meat and very light, you can choose tilapia. Just go with your gut and think about, I'm putting this into my body and I accept it for what it is, because it's kind of like divine to be able to share the spices and not have like a taste that is like fossilized to a fishy one, or a clammy or slimy. Different fish comes with different flavor, texture, and consistency. So this one here, it comes all prepared without the bone, very flaky, very nice, very firm, firm to touch. And then it kind of melts in your mouth, and it's one of those bastard fish. It's like it doesn't have a place in like the nutritional category, except that it just has protein, but it tastes hella good when you incorporate a lot of the spices into it and just make it divine. So if you try it out there, get a lot of senses for what your taste palette is, and don't even think about the diet that this fish have. Just think about what attributes there are for your seasoning cabinet and what's in your Lazy Susan. So incorporate flour, salt, pepper, chili powder, and like throw in the conglomerate of your cabinet and make something good out of it. Like make a roux with it and make a sauce and put sauce on top of the fish with salt and pepper. And like a roux is just one part flour, 1 part butter. So like a cup of flour, 1 pound of butter. You do that, you stir, you cook it on the stove, and then you add like water, and then you have a gravy, and that's a thickening agent to your gravy. And you eat that and just have a good time with it. It's cooking, it's all about the process, and you got to try different things while you're in culinary, and cooking things that may sound disgusting. Look at Andrew Zimmermann. He's like, if you never tried it, you go ahead and try it. Or if it looks weird and disgusting, try it. If it sounds disgusting, like try it. Like Andrew Zimmermann gets paid to go on TV and try different foods, and like it's a delicacy for people to prepare it that way. And if you can share the culture that many of the chefs and culinarians have across the world, you'll be able to experience the global impact on shipping specialty items across borders to share the harvest. And that's what it's all about, is like the harvest is coming to fruition with people's perspective and their consumption. So if you can consume it and you can hack it, just go for it. That's all I have to say for now. So like and subscribe. There's going to be more content to come in the future. Thank you.